Assalamualaikum to Dr. Irini and my fellow friends. My name is Siti Maisarah Binti Othman.
My name is Syanini Farisya Binti Mustamam.
My name is Kamarul Ariffin bin Muhammad Firdaus and Rashdan bin Kamaruzzaman.
Today, we're going to present about the plastic pollution in Malaysia. Before we proceed with the plastic pollution issue, let me briefly explain what is plastic. Plastic is made from polymers, long repeating chains of molecule groups. By breaking down crude oil into its components and rearrange them, we can form new synthetic polymers. Synthetic polymers have extraordinary traits. They are lightweight, durable, and can be molded into almost any shape. Plastic can be easily mass-produced, and its raw materials are available in vast amounts and incredibly cheap. These plasticity properties allow plastic to be made into a wide range of products. These include tough and lightweight PET beverage bottles, flexible PVC garden hoses, insulating food containers made of foam polystyrene, and shatterproof PMMA windows. Today, almost everything, at least partly made of plastic. For example, is our clothes, our furniture, our smartphone, our computer, houses, and cars. However, plastic can be harmful to the environment and human health. Since synthetic polymers are so durable, plastic takes 400 years to break down. Plastic pollution has become one of the most serious environmental concerns as the increasingly rising development of disposable plastic goods overwhelm the ability of the world to cope with them. In developing ASEAN and African nations, plastic waste is most noticeable where the garbage collection system is either ineffective or non-existent. Plastic waste-related environmental concerns have become a major problem in Malaysia, where it has been ranked 8th place among the world top 10 countries with mismanaged plastic waste. A study estimated that Malaysia created 0.94 million tons of plastic waste that was mismanaged, 0.14 to 0.37 million tons of which could have been washed into the ocean and caused plastic pollution. Plastic pollution will be affecting the marine ecosystem, human health, agriculture sector, and it also can lead to climate change. The government needs to take necessary action in order to prevent or control the issue related to plastic pollution in Malaysia.
Plastic is very useful and durable. However, plastic can bring danger to the environment. Plastic pollution is the most serious problem that is always faced by the world country. It is affecting the marine ecosystem, ocean health, food safety, and human health. For marine environment, marine life such as seabirds, whales, fishes, and turtles mistake plastic waste for prey, and most die of starvation as their stomachs are filled with plastic debris. For food and health, several chemicals used in the production of plastic material are known to be carcinogenic and to interfere with the body's endocrine system, causing developmental, reproductive, neurological, and human disorder in both human and wildlife. Moreover, this problem can lead to climate change, which is petroleum product also contribute to global warming. If plastic waste is incinerated, it releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, thereby increasing carbon emission. Malaysia is one of the countries that has a serious issue with plastic pollution. In 2009, Malaysia was ranked among the worst countries in the world for plastic pollution. Most of our plastic are dumped, a small portion burned, and a very tiny fraction, 2% in 2013 recycled. And now, there is plastic waste that Malaysia takes from other countries. Malaysia has become the most famous plastic garbage dump around the world. According to the Straits Times in Singapore, Malaysia is the place where the world sends trash. We import nearly 500,000 tons of plastic waste in the first half of 2018. The waste comes from 19 countries. Greenpeace found by investigating package labels at dump sites. All of this happened because of China, which the world plastic dumping site suddenly announced that in 2017, the country was no longer going to take any of it. Chinese government dropped a bombshell on the world recycling business. It cut back almost all imports of trash, and now a lot of that plastic gets shipped to other countries that doesn't have the capacity to recycle or dispose of it safely. About 5 years ago, the Chinese government started to worry about all the trash coming in. A lot of the plastic was contaminated with stuff that made it difficult and expensive to recycle, and some of the plastic was hard to recycle and thus not profitable to import. What's more, a lot of plastic sneak in illegally without permits. These fly-by-night recyclers dump stuff they couldn't recycle, causing pollution on land and waterways. This new dumping destination was not likely to last. Already, Vietnam and Malaysia are cutting back imports of scrap plastic because they are overwhelmed. They can't handle the huge diversion of plastic to their countries since China shut up imports. The plastic waste was meant to be collected for recycling. However, the businesses which are illegal will just throw it away in the sea, river, and beach or burn it. The plastic use will cause a lot of problems to the environment and human health. According to Greenpeace, there is burning plastic happen at Jenjaram, Selangor. The burning plastic will release toxin dioxins and carbon monoxide. Due to that, many residents in the area have difficulty breathing, constantly cough, fatigue, itching, and watery eyes. Other than that, all the streams also will get destroyed by the overflow of water from the landfill. One of Jinjaron resident, Le Peng Pua, collected water samples from dump sites with chemical-grade gloves. The water contained toxic heavy metals. Her story reported by the Los Angeles Times.
if they just dump the non-recyclable plastic or the reject product and then they burn in the backyard of this factory. So those toxic fumes actually already cause a lot of health problems to our residents.
Green Group WWF, the greatest users of plastic packaging are Malaysian. This report is made based on use of household plastic packaging from the countries of China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. It showed that in 2016, 27 million tons were used amongst all 6 nations. Unexpectedly, Malaysia ranked at the top with 16.8 kg per person. According to Thomas from WWF, the reason Malaysia has the greatest use of plastic is because they are richest. Malaysia has a lot of food delivery such as GrabFood and Foodpanda, which has been using the plastic to pack the foods. Other than that, supermarkets also provide plastic after buying goods. In 2020, the use of plastic will increase due to COVID-19. Therefore, efforts to reduce plastic will be in vain. The most widely used items during this COVID-19 are those made of plastic, such as medical masks and plastic food container brought home. The use of plastic packaging has increased, especially for food delivery services. This is to reduce costs while ensuring food safety. According to the Malaysian Plastic Manufacturers Association, the production of plastic increased to 0.7% since around August. It is compared to 5% at the same time last year. There are many businesses in the food and beverage industry that have noticed that plastic waste will become increased during MCO. Some of them try to take actions such as restricting the use of plastic packaging and using cardboard. Unfortunately, it failed due to the risk of coronavirus transmission.
Plastic is everywhere in our ocean, floating on the surface, mixing in the salt water, and sitting on the ocean bottom, miles and miles deep. And once in the ocean, it never goes away. Over hundreds of years, it breaks down into small pieces. But those pieces, even the tiny ones called microplastics, are still plastic. Sea turtles are choking on it. Scientists say that over 60% of whale and dolphin species are affected by it. Zooplankton, the base of the ocean food chain, eat it. And so do we. It's in the water we drink. It's in our food. Microplastics have been found in our salt, our honey, and our beer. And sometimes even in the air we breathe. Companies are choosing to make something that will be used just once, from a material that lasts forever. If you don't like what throwaway plastics are already doing to our world, brace yourself. We face a tsunami of throwaway plastic in our and the ocean's future. 4 times more plastic will be produced between now and the middle of the century than has been produced in all of history. 4 times more.
I will talk about implications of plastic pollution to environment in Malaysia. Perhaps plastic are among the greatest inventions we have developed as humans. Day by day, the world climate is evolving and now it has become a threat to living life forms due to the very nasty fact that every nation is attempting to improve its nations without taking into account of the environmental effects of agricultural and land depletion and also pollution. There are lots of implications and impacts from this serious issue of plastic pollution in our country, Malaysia. Okay, the most serious impact in plastic waste causes really serious problems to human health and the environment in Malaysia. Due to the unregulated production of carcinogenic compounds, plastic bag use may contribute to serious diseases in a variety of areas in Malaysia. Mismanaged waste spreads disease by community, both by flooding caused by blocked rivers and by toxins released as waste is burned, and is also more harmful than other resources of air pollution due to the proximity of human habitation of waste burning sites. Extraction and transport of plastic fossils which release into the air and water a range of toxic substances can bring into known health consequences such as cancer, neurotoxicity and immune system impairment. This issue really shows the serious impact of plastic pollution in Malaysia. As we can see in the making process of plastic, there are various chemicals used and have been reported to have different diverse effects on humans. Next, plastic pollution really has an impact on our ocean and marine life. Based on a study, it is 165 million tons of plastic waste are estimated to be found in the world seas in 2012. Although an annual total of 8 million tons of plastics is released into the ocean, with 5 trillion grains of plastic floating in the ocean. As we know, these plastic bags don't even deteriorate. Small bits of harmful contaminants of microplastics are emitted into the ocean when they break. Normally, the microplastic is mistaken as food for marine creatures such as whales, dolphins and sea turtles because it looks like jellyfish. Sea animals can easily colonize plastic waste floating on the ocean, and this may disturb the migration of new or non-native species due to long periods of presence on the ocean floor. This serious issue really gives such a bad impact to Malaysian ocean, as lots of marine life species leading to reduced movement, feeding, reproductive output, ulcers, lacerations and eventual death. On the other hand, plastic usage and pollution also give huge implications and impacts in our agricultural sector in Malaysia. About 96% of all plastic shopping bags were discarded into landfills due to many uncaring variables. Since people are not aware of plastic bags being recycled, they dump them anywhere. This recycled plastic bag would eventually make their way to farm fields along with other decomposed products as an unintended. Hence, the development of agricultural plant growth is also delayed. Reduced soil fertility, decreased nitrogen fixation, greater depletion of soil nutrients, reduced crop production, and soil mismatch for flora and fauna are the most important negative impacts of plastic on agriculture. In some ways, the agricultural effects of plastic bags are very negative, and thus these bags are very threat to our food and life in Malaysia.
Next, law and regulation to overcome plastic pollution in Malaysia. In this section, we will discuss about law that applicable to prevent or control plastic pollution in Malaysia. Any relevant law possible to deal with the issue of plastic pollution in Malaysia. The first law and regulation to overcome plastic pollution in Malaysia is the Environmental Quality Act 1974, or known as EQA. EQA is a primary law controlling pollution through the control of polluted emission level from licensed system. Unlicensed improper waste disposal only become an offence if it is offensive to human being, affects underground water, or harmful to any beneficial of soil. This law also provides for the prevention, reduction, control, and improvement of pollution. Next, this law also makes an offence to dump plastic waste in any manner that would pollute inland water. However, EQA is failed for addressing pollution only where humans are affected. The second law and regulation to overcome plastic pollution in Malaysia is the Soil Waste and Public Cleansing Management Act 2017. This law reduces plastic pollution through imposition of proper management and control of solid waste created via permit under Part 4 and Part 8. Any reliable waste management services or solid waste management facilities are subject to a license. The requirement on allowing are placed down in the law. Lastly, the Water Service Industry Act 2006. This law bans polluting the water supply system by risking any person's life, while several wrongful acts relevant to illegal plastic disposal. The National Drinking Water Quality Program is a practical alternative to ensure a water supply free from plastic pollution. Other than that, the purpose of this law is to develop a license and policy process for regulation effort to improve policy objective for waste management. Other than that, this same law provide out process and standard for applying for personal or permit for responsibility. Lastly, individual license should be made to groundwater delivery as well as waste disposal system for the public. There is a video highlight by why these law and regulation are important to our country to overcome plastic pollution in Malaysia.
Some countries like Malaysia are becoming the world's plastic dumpsters. Here's why that's a problem. According to statistics from the World Bank, countries under the OECD, that's largely made up of developed countries, produce the most trash. So it isn't really a surprise that for decades countries such as the UK, US, Canada and even Australia has been shipping off its plastic trash to developing countries like Malaysia to be recycled. But they've done so simply because it's cheaper than dealing with the waste themselves. And the countries receiving the waste welcomed it. Because even in the form of trash, plastics can be very valuable. Importers of this trash could recycle it and use it to make other plastic products or to simply sell it as secondary raw material. Trash for cash. Since 1988, Chinese recyclers monopolized this business. In fact, almost half of the world's plastic waste was sent to China. But last year, in January of 2018, the Chinese government banned the import of plastic waste. This was seen as a move towards a higher value economy and to avoid the pollution produced by the industry. Since the ban, both Chinese recyclers as well as the countries exporting the trash have been scrambling to look for new places that will accept the waste. Cue Malaysia. South China Morning Post reports that as a result of the ban, plastic waste has been redirected in huge quantities to Southeast Asia, where Chinese recyclers have shifted. With a large Chinese-speaking minority, Malaysia was a top choice for Chinese recyclers looking to relocate. And the numbers prove this. Plastic imports have tripled from 168,500 tons throughout 2016 to 456,000 tons in just the first half of 2018. Proponents of the trash trading argue that importing waste is an economic transaction, which can benefit countries with little to offer the global economy. This report produced for the OECD claims it can boost global recycling rates. But oftentimes, the trash that's imported isn't even recyclable.
In conclusion, plastic is very durable and useful for our daily life. It makes our life cleaner, easier, safer, and more pleasant. However, plastic can be dangerous to the environment and also to human health. Plastic can lead to the plastic pollution in the water, air, and land as plastic is made up of large toxic contaminants. For example, the carcinogenic compounds that were used in plastic bags can lead to the cancerous disease. This problem illustrates the severe impact of plastic pollution in Malaysia. As we can see in the making process of plastic, there are various chemicals that have been used that have a significant effect on human and also to the environment. Malaysia has been ranked among the world's worst countries for plastic pollution in 2009. The responsible businesses have dumped plastic at the seas, rivers, and beaches or burned it rather than recycle it. In order to control plastic pollution in Malaysia, the government has enacted legislation to control plastic pollution such as Environmental Quality Act 1974, Solid Waste and Public Cleansing Management Act 2007, and Water Service Industry Act 2006. Most importantly, the government must take stern action against companies that violate laws that have been enacted to curb the problem of plastic pollution in Malaysia. Lastly, as the inhabitants of this earth, we also should reduce the usage of plastic in our daily life in order to reduce the plastic pollution. We can replace the usage of plastic bag with recycled bag when buying goods.